Hi, my name is Amy, and with my husband Luke, we founded the 7 Stages Discipleship Ministry, also known as Bridges. So let me ask you, do you struggle with sin? Like doing something you know is wrong or not doing something you know is right? Do unpleasant things happen to you and then your knee-jerk reaction at the moment just leaves you regretting and wishing you can hit the Alt-Delete button and start all over again? Do you wish you have something like a spiritual radar that can detect temptations coming your way so that you could be more prepared than you are right now? And what about your own spiritual discernment? Are you confused by all the fake news and all the different viewpoints and wish you can just cut to the chase and just pick out the one truth? Or do you struggle with agreeing with God or the Bible about whether something is really sin and why it's even a sin to begin with? Do you feel like you sometimes side more with what the world says more than the views of the Christian establishment? And what about your sense of belonging? Does church life frustrate you and you wonder why you even need to be a part of it all because the conflict is so painful at times? And yet you just don't know what other alternatives you have. You're a Jesus follower and you want to make sure you don't miss out on roll call when he comes back real soon. But oh, does the process have to be so senseless at times? Well, the reason I'm throwing all these questions at you is because I've been there. Growing up in the church, being a pastor's kid, missionary kid, serving just about every position there is in church and getting hurt a lot in the process. I've been there. And being a part of this world, going through public school, sitting under atheistic professors in college, and working as a lawyer in a secular environment, I know the confusions and the frustrations. And in those years, we led youth ministries in the States, planting new church later on, and then after that, the 17 years of intensely discipling hundreds of young adults and professionals overseas, we saw the same pattern of confusion and struggles over emotional baggage, family issues, and sinful habits that seems to have a death grip on the soul. And because sin is draining to your soul mentally, emotionally, relationally, physically, and socially, many believers end up stuck in their journey towards the abundant life, like a car that's revving in the mud. Despite efforts, they never reach spiritual maturity. And this is why stage 4 is about being unstuck. When we realize how crucial this stage is in the overall scheme of the 7 stages of spiritual growth, we then designed stage 4 to meet these needs we just talked about. If you're a relatively new believer, we suggest that you first take a primer class on basic Christianity before embarking on this highly interactive, intensely challenging, and deeply applicational series. But this is a class you must go through before you go from just helping out generally to serving in a more responsible role that entails you working closely with other people. Why? Because it will eliminate unnecessary conflicts that oftentimes people find themselves in. Now, why do we say unnecessary? Because some conflicts could have been avoided had believers gone through a spiritual self-awareness training, like the ones we offer here in stage 4. Unnecessary conflicts come when believers are unaware of their own personal issues that can flare up. It's like a landmine that no one knows was buried there until someone accidentally steps on it and gets injured. Then we see the church gradually fall apart, because this principle is both true physically and spiritually. When one part of the body gets hurt, the entire body suffers. If you've been a Christian for a while now and have been serving for an extended season, you'll know what I'm talking about. These series will resonate with you and help you realize just why all these senseless conflicts keep propping up in the church and even in your own home. Whether you are a beginner or a seasoned believer, the Stage 4 series will arm you with the basic skills of spiritual discernment to detect lies in your life that comes from the outer world's agenda, as well as your inner world of sinful preoccupation with the self. Believers also sin easily when we don't realize how the cycle of consequences work in the spiritual realm. It's like what happens when we don't understand how gravity works in the physical realm. Depravity is like gravity. A misstep brings consequences. We think thoughts, we say words, and we do things, and we know we are making all these choices, but we just don't realize the causal relationship between our beliefs, our thoughts, our feelings, our decisions, and the consequences they yield, which in turn circle back and impact our beliefs about God, ourselves, and others. As a result, we keep making bad choices, and in the end, blame God for not loving us and being unfair. And that's when we sin even more, and the cycle becomes worse as we drift further and further away from God. So stage 4 is about arresting that malignant cycle, which we will definitely fall into if left on our own. There are 2 series that make up the core courses in stage 4. Series 1 is about your mind and your spiritual health. Series 2 is about your emotions and your spiritual health. In Series 1, our goal is to help you discern all the major players that tempt you to sin, your sinful desires, the lies you believe in, the false belief of religiosity which causes you to rely on your own performance, and the worldly agenda of humanism. We will also talk about what will get you unstuck, which is your faith in persevering through the trials. The key to identifying and replacing the lethal lies you've embraced is applying the truth to your everyday life. And this is why Luke has also worked hard on providing you with a solid biblical foundation through the Stage 3 and 4 series by designing daily devotions with very practical perspectives and questions for you to apply. By the time you're done with Stages 3 and 4 devotions, you would have gone through the first 5 books of the Bible, also known as the Pentateuch, as well as the Gospel of Matthew and John, and a good portion of Psalms. The devotions will help you grasp the main points behind these books and thus give you a very solid biblical and theological foundation for your faith. As well, in the second series, we will talk about your past baggage and how they may breed unhealthy emotions, entangling your life, and how the world's propaganda of sentimentalism tempts you to become preoccupied with satisfying your emotions rather than pursuing the likeness of your Heavenly Father. Our goal is to get you unstuck in your emotions so that you can move forward as urged in Hebrews 12:1, which is our main verse for Stage 4. We must put aside everything that hinders us and the sin that so easily entangles us so that we can move forward with God's power and run the race that is set before us. It is our belief that as you take these series of Stage 4 classes, surrounded by a cloud of witnesses who are also processing together with you, as you fix your eyes on Jesus, you will go on a life transformation journey that will ultimately lead you to experience the abundant life that Jesus came to give us.